something happening here. But what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I've got to beware.
Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Yeah, hello and welcome to Cranky Commentaries. As always, I'm your host, Jake Del Mastro, and as always, I'm joined by my very good friend and co-host, Keaton Byer. Hello, Keaton.
Hello, how's it going?
Not too bad. Doing a lot better than Nicolas Cage is at the end of this movie.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He's doing all right at the end of the movie, all things considered. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, he gets pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up, yeah. But he's at least not in prison for the rest of his life. No, he's not in prison at the end of the movie.
For the rest of his life, although who knows, maybe he ends up there later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where are we at?
Well, there's we're doing Lord of War part 2 here. It's just a pretty serious film with some serious topics, so beware. Listeners, beware. We might
it's also it has a sense of humor though.
Well,
it's definitely like not the most serious take on this.
No, of course,
but it has a serious message.
Exactly. And we're gonna get serious for brief moments, but obviously it's a Nick Cage movie, and there's some intense stuff and some silly stuff. We're going to probably talk about all of it. So let's, I guess we should just get right into it. Let's
get on with it.
Let's get on with it.
Get on with it.
Get on with it. Yeah. So let's talk about, just do a quick recap of what we did, last week. Cause I think we basically just talked about the, pre-production and the actual kind of true story aspect. We didn't go into like detail about the post-film true story, which we will go into much more today. But yeah, we talked about, Victor Boot, the guy he's based on. We talked about basically all the guys that they're based on. So if you want to get into that, there's a lot of them actually, a lot of real people.
Actually, there were references that we actually found out later that we didn't mention on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them were, references, not actually, characters based on people, but,
there was just, a lot of, little, references and, the names of, the people. Yeah. One of them was, the name of...
The ship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that was
what was
one.
It?
Yeah. It was, based on, a person who was involved
We'll have to go through these.
Yeah. Anyway, so we talked about that sort of thing and the basic facts, who's in it, the director, Nichol. Andrew Nichol, is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Andrew Nichol. And, all the people in it, such as, the legendary Nicolas Cage.
Absolute legend.
The legendary, but, questionably so, Jared Leto. And then
the legendary Ethan Hawke.
And then, the known Bridget Monahan.
Yes.
I don't know if she's legendary, but I know we know who she is.
Yes. More so now that we've seen this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So, we talked about the pre-production, which was basically just how it was all written by Nichol. He got Cage to produce. We talked about, what he thought about the film and everything. So, if you want all that excellent
information,
go listen to part one. But now we're moving into the production. So before we get started, we just have a segment that we're gonna do for you because everybody wants it.
Yeah.
And I figure people were confused as to where it was last week, so we'll get it to you right away.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
All right, 6 Degrees of Star Trek. This is the segment we all love.
Fuck yes.
It's about the connection between this movie and Star Trek. Okay, we have one direct connection and two indirect, 1 degree, 2 steps.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
who's the direct connection?
You're gonna hate this, or you're gonna love it.
Is it Jared Leto?
No, you're gonna hate how I did this.
Oh, okay.
Or you're gonna love how I did this.
Okay, how did you do it?
Okay, so the direct connection
Oh God.
is not anybody who you would think.
Who is it?
It's Mikhail Gorbachev.
Oh, you motherfucker! Is he really? Oh my God!
Not like because he's on the TV
There's
in this
footage
movie.
of him in
in Star Trek.
You bastard! I like it. I appreciate it.
So if you recall on the screen in this film, you have Gorbachev like making that speech about resigning.
Yeah, and fucking Nick Cage kisses him on the forehead on the screen.
I mean, really, he should be kissing fucking Boris Yeltsin, but that's beside the
That's
point.
neither here nor there.
Yeah. If he's happy about the Soviet Union falling apart, but that's not. That's not what we're here to talk about today.
So did they show that exact speech?
No. They. So okay, in Star Trek Enterprise, in the episode Stormfront Part 2.
Okay.
Which is an episode where they go back in time to like some alternate history.
Okay.
There's this whole part where like they show like this time stream thing, and in it you can see a picture of or a video of Mikhail Gorbachev shaking hands with George H.W. Bush.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Here it is. Oh my God. Okay. There's Nazi aliens. Nice.
Yeah, it's actually a two-parter episode. So this is the second part.
Sick.
They go back in time where aliens have changed the course of World War II so that, the Nazis won.
They've aligned with the Nazis?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fucking... Gorbachev is the direct connection.
Yeah, Mikhail Gorbachev, direct connection.
That's good.
But
that's hilarious.
Now we go through the other ones. All right. So, two of these go through Nicolas Cage.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right.
Okay. We have a film that Nicolas Cage was in. Wait. 1 second. I forgot what the connection was.
What's the film?
Sorry, 1 second. Nick Cage was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Wasn't he?
he was.
That's weird. Okay.
As a Spider-Man.
Sick. Yeah,
and
right.
Chris Pine was also in that film as also Spider-Man.
And we know who Chris Pine
and
is.
Chris Pine in the Abrams verse.
Yes.
Is Captain Kirk.
JJ track.
JJ track, yeah. All right. And then we have a 1986 film called The Boy in Blue, starring Nicolas Cage.
1986.
Yes.
The Boy in Blue. Okay.
Which he is supported by Christopher Plummer.
Christopher Plummer, the legendary connection.
Exactly. Christopher Plummer was in Star Trek as General Chang.
General Chang was a Klingon military officer and chief of staff to Gorkon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there we go. General Chang is Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer, sorry, is General Chang.
So good.
Yes. So that's our connection. The Boy in Blue, it's a film I've never seen. Where
well, yeah, what is The Boy in Blue?
Nicolas Cage plays a Canadian competitive rowing champion.
Oh, come on. How could that be bad?
Who knows?
1986, that's like
a really early Nicolas Cage
Yeah,
role.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's like very early Nick
Yeah.
Cage. Actually, how could that be good now that I'm looking at it?
Well, who knows?
Oh, it's based on
Plummer.
a true story. Christopher Plummer's in it.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll have to see.
One of the first scullers to successfully utilize the sliding seat. Interesting. Extreme.
I don't know anything about rowing, but
I guess the seat didn't slide before, and now it does.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So there we go.
That's 6 Degrees of Star Trek.
All right.
So
we can move on.
let me
to
know if you hate my Gorbachev connection.
I'm sure some will hate it, but I'm on your side.
Okay.
I'm on your side with it.
He appears on screen in
Yeah.
both of them
Yeah.
as himself.
Yeah. So that counts. That's him. That's
And-
it.
yeah.
He's in both as himself.
Exactly. Do you ever see that Pizza Hut ad that he's in?
No.
It's really weird.
Hold on 1 second.
Look it up. It's bizarre. Mikhail Gorbachev, Pizza Hut. It was made in like the 90s.
Oh,
There he is.
there he is. What the?
Это из-за него у нас в экономике бардак.
Благодаря ему у нас новые возможности.
This is weird.
Политическая нестабильность.
Because of him, we have Pizza Hut.
У нас свобода.
Полный хаос.
Is the kid gonna say, because of him, we have Pizza Hut?
Стабильность.
Да благодаря ему у нас есть писаха.
No, the babushka.
Good point.
За Горбачева.
За Горбачева.
Hail Gorbachev. Nah, I'm good, thank you. Wow. Nothing big brings people together like a nice hot pizza from Pizza Hut. Even the fractured Soviet Union.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, a little bit of history there.
That's excellent. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the. Let's move on to the production then. Basically, now they have all their money, which was what was it exactly? 42 to 50 million is what it says here. There's two sources.
Okay. So around, let's say, 45 million.
Yeah, approximately, and it made 72.6 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have their budget, and we were talking a lot about how, like, you know, a big part of why they got their budget was because Nick Cage was in the movie.
In it, yeah, exactly.
Especially because they had trouble allegedly getting financing
Yeah.
from American sources
Because of the military-industrial complex,
because of
allegedly.
Exactly. Again, that's all alleged, but
Yeah.
that's what they seem to think.
Mm-hmm.
So once they got their money, they needed to get their location. So they basically everything that is in Africa was shot in South Africa.
Okay.
Not only that, everything such places like Beirut and the Caribbean and South America, all South Africa.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, South Africa actually has like a really wide range of different kinds of landscapes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's actually.
I mean,
really
it's a
good.
really big country.
Exactly.
Also, like,
it's got a lot of biomes.
yeah. I feel like when you look at a map, most African countries, you actually don't realize how big they are.
Yeah, they are really big. And the continent of Africa is like underrepresented in terms of like how big it actually is.
Well, yeah,
on
because
maps.
of the Mercator projection. Go look that up.
Yeah,
but like,
exactly,
we
yeah.
don't have time to explain that right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Czech Republic stood in for Ukraine.
Okay.
And New York was in fact New York.
Okay.
I was a bit confused about that last week.
Okay, so it was New York, yeah.
Yeah. We did mention the 3,000 guns that they bought
Yeah.
and sold back, but we didn't mention. Did you want to mention that one little detail? of the
Okay,
fact that
yeah.
they,
So, he has this big monologue where he's talking about like AK-47s and all that, and how like just how much the AK-47 is like the ubiquitous gun, and then they pan over like this rack of guns,
Yeah.
and the guns in the racks are not AK-47s.
No, they are.
Okay, wait. Do you have the model?
It says here it is a. Wait for it. It is a VZ58. Sampol VZ58.
Yeah. So apparently
Samopol?
that's like a Czech weapon, I believe. And it apparently looks like an AK-47, but has nothing to do with it internally.
In German, it's the Model 58 submachine gun.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from what I understand, they bought 3,000 real guns because it was cheaper than buying prop guns.
Than buying prop AKs.
Prop AKs,
So
yeah.
and what they said is that so for every close-up where they were like showed, because apparently from the bottom it looks a lot like an AK, except like only really like, gun nerds would be able to tell
Yeah.
the difference from the bottom. So that's why. So in the
Well, I
rack,
did notice in the close-up you can see there's text on it because the close-up that's a real AK. You can see that everything's written in Russian.
yeah, they used actual AK models.
Yeah.
So the whenever there's like a close up of an
Yeah.
AK, that's not a real gun. But
Right, yeah.
a lot of the guns like in the background are real
Yeah,
guns.
but I presume
3,000
the
of them.
ones on the racks wouldn't have text on them written in Russian.
Yeah, exactly. Those were the 3,000
Yeah, okay, yeah,
non
yeah,
AKs
yeah.
in the racks because they were easier to hide that they weren't actually AKs.
Yes,
And-
but they were real guns, so weird.
So
Like,
weird, yeah. There's like
it's
behind the scenes footage of like the armory guy because they had an armory guy.
Well, you have to. I mean,
Yeah.
for reasons that we all know.
Yeah, there's explosions and shit.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
explaining to a bunch of extras.
Yeah.
He was like, "So these are real weapons, so be careful with them.
Yeah.
Like, don't get sand in them because you might have to fire them later."
Yeah, jeez.
Like, okay, jeez.
Yeah.
And Andrew Nichol described the whole experience of buying and selling back at a discount.
Yes.
The 3,000 guns. He said it was a sobering experience because of how easy it was.
Yeah, so like that's one of the things I thought was really really weird about this movie is that like the people making the movie were like, I don't know, like if you could fully say they were like engaging in the very things that the movie was like
No, but they
talking
were.
about, but they were like entering into that world.
Yeah, enough that it raises an eyebrow,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
exactly.
It's like a little weird.
But like, I mean, I guess you could say like part of that's like research for the film. You know, you gotta get to know that element.
But it goes further than that because there's
Yeah.
the tanks too.
Oh right, okay, so yeah, so but like let's just like finish up this thing with the guns. So basically,
yeah.
what happened is like they bought them
Yeah.
from an arms dealer,
Yeah.
and then they sold them back to that arms dealer, and then who knows what happened to them?
Yeah, exactly. They
It's
probably
like
went back into
to Liberia or something.
Yeah, so. And they sold them at a discount, so,
Yeah, exactly.
someone made money.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, exactly. And so yeah, and then there's the tanks, which was there's a scene, where he's standing beside like 30 tanks, and it looks like that's like you almost think like, no way, that's a real like fucking...
Yeah, so those were all real tanks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they were Czech tanks, right?
Well, I don't know that they were specifically.
No, but they were from the Czech military, right?
Well,
Yeah.
they were from a Czech arms dealer.
Oh, okay, I see. So, but basically, they basically rented them for the film,
Basically,
but they only had a certain amount of time with them because they were about to send those tanks to Libya,
That's what
which
the-
is pretty fucking sketchy because
yeah. Yeah, they were as a private arms dealer who owned them, and he was like, "Yeah, you can use them. I just need them back by December."
yeah, so that I can send them to Muammar Gaddafi.
So I can sell them to Libya. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's again further shady. But
Yeah.
again, it gets even. There's more because the airplane. Okay.
Yeah, the Antonov whatever.
Yeah.
The thing that they stripped.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was apparently an actual airplane, an actual arms dealer's airplane that they
Oh, really?
rented again from an arms dealer. And the same producer.
Because I would think that plane, that's basically like a cargo plane. Like, would they actually need to have like
Well, because it's like an old
Soviet like?
it's a specific type of plane.
Yeah.
And they were in South Africa, so they're like, where are we gonna get this specific type of plane that we
Right.
need for this movie in South Africa?
Right.
We're gonna have to contact an arms dealer.
Oh god.
So they did, and they got it from an arms dealer. And according to the producer, they said the plane had been, quote, running guns just a week earlier,
Yeah.
prior to the film.
It's like-
and he was like bragging about that. I
No,
was
but like this really like kind of illustrates the point that I think the movie was gonna make. The
Yeah.
movie's trying to make because like. Let's say they weren't a film crew. Let's say they were a terrorist organization.
It's true. How
like,
easy would it
how
have been?
easy is it to get all these guns and planes
That's-
and even tanks?
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does almost like bring more attention to that fact.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Russian, they said, quote, the Russian crew said it was authentic. I don't know what that
Right.
means. If that was like the actual Russian crew flying it, or
Yeah.
the,
Well, I don't know. Were they flying it with the same crew that was running guns?
That's a good question. They didn't say so, but
Because
I don't
you have to
know.
get like a set of pilots that is specifically rated on that aircraft, right?
so
probably.
yeah, it's probably the arms dealing fucking
Yeah.
pilots. Good lord.
Yeah.
But that whole scene is actually pretty fucking cool. The whole plane scene.
Yeah. When they take it apart, that's all CGI, from what I recall.
I
right?
believe so. Yeah. Well, because they could. They had to give back to this
They
arms
have to give
dealer.
the plane back. Yeah.
But when they landed the plane, obviously there's tons of people on the ground. They didn't, do that in real life. Obviously,
Yeah.
they did they did plates basically. They did like
Yeah.
for the close-ups. However, they did they used like forced perspective to get
Mm-hmm.
the shot where like everybody like ducks when the plane's
Oh
like
yeah.
so they had the plane like land a half mile down the road from a bunch of actors who
Mm-hmm.
it dropped when it was all planned. They still had to fucking land a plane on a dirt road. So
Yeah.
like, how do you make that
A big plane.
a big plane? Exactly, a dangerous plane to land on such a road. So
Yeah.
how do you fucking make that work?
Presumably, Nicolas Cage wasn't in it at the time.
I don't believe he was. I think
Okay.
it was just the Russians.
Presumably, he didn't land the plane.
No. Although I would
mean,
love to see that.
Well, we saw he can fly a plane.
We know he can. In our last Nicolas Cage film, we've seen this. Yes.
He can fly a plane.
He knows.
Although he does make many mistakes, as we went over, in
So-
how to fly a plane.
He does so he doesn't actually know how to fly a plane even in that movie.
In the context of the movie, he's supposed to know how to fly a plane.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
So to make this possible, they actually rented an airfield and they just covered it in dirt and
Oh,
sod.
okay, I see.
So it's like I was watching like a video of them do it, and it looked like a lot of work. Like they're
Yeah.
fucking,
Oh, they're just like dumping bags of soil and shit all over the road. Yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, still, that seems like it'd be pretty dangerous, even to you have covering a runway with dirt, but still,
Yeah.
it's a little better than actually doing it on an uneven dirt road.
Yeah. Well, I think you're supposed to be able to land a plane in a field if you really need to.
If you need to, yeah. So
I mean, I don't know. Pilots come at me. Maybe that's completely false.
it's true. I mean, it depends on the plane. I'm sure.
I mean, I guess you could land a plane on water if you really want to.
Yeah, Sully.
Yeah.
Nick Cage crashed a plane. Sully Sullenberger crashed a plane.
I see no difference.
Yeah, exactly. Is there any pilot movies about successful pilots? Oh yeah, well, Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Top Gun doesn't count because Goose dies.
Right.
Anyway, spoiler for Top Gun. Listen to the Top Gun
Yeah,
episode.
exactly.
Anyway, speaking of flying things, actually, that's an excellent segue. So you remember the scene where there's that fucking like he's like talking about how gruesome it is, and there's like he shows up at his hotel and there's like a vulture picking at the corpse on the
Yeah.
ground. They were fucking apparently that vulture was like super terrifying.
Yeah.
Nick Cage, because it was huge. Nick Cage called it a dinosaur.
Yeah, this is in South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said it was eating baby vultures. I don't know how true that was.
God.
It's just what Nick Cage said.
Yeah.
But apparently the guy who was lying on the ground was, as the producer was saying, when they auditioned him, he was able to lie very still for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave him that role. But apparently the vulture was like pecking at him the
Wow.
whole time. And yet
Did he know when he was auditioning there was going to be a real vulture?
Who knows? They didn't say.
Also, is this just some random vulture, or was this some kind of like...
It was a trained vulture.
Trained
I'm
animal.
sure.
Okay, oh,
Yeah,
I see,
It was a
I
trained
see.
animal, yeah. But the trainer was still like, you'll have to protect. The only way the vulture's going to jump on you is if it actually thinks you're dead.
Oh,
so
okay,
you have
yeah.
to like lay perfectly still and like, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so the fucking vulture was like pecking at his hand and shit, and he was like, just had to lay there still. So that guy is like perhaps the best actor in the film.
Yeah. I hope he got paid enough.
I hope so. So
Somehow I doubt it.
I sincerely doubt it. Maybe he made 42 of that 45 million.
Yeah, I hope so.
Who knows? I don't know. It could have. So South Africa, they also shot in the desert. And we've talked about films shooting in the desert before.
It's not easy. It's also hot.
It's hard. It's hot. It's difficult. They were saying it got up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit
Yeah.
during the shoot, which is for our Canadian listeners.
Well, not for our Canadian listeners, for everybody in the whole fucking world.
Yeah, sorry, for our reasonable listeners is what,
Okay.
is what I meant to say.
For most countries.
For the non-crazy people, that's 48, approximately 49 degrees Celsius.
Right.
So that's hot as all holy fuck.
Indeed.
So, and the scene with the plane, that whole thing, because like they had to get the airfield, they had to set it up, they had to shoot, they had to tear it down. That took 30 consecutive hours of shooting
Brutal.
to get, and there was tons of shit like that. Apparently, like it was just a very difficult shoot. Like, except for Jared Leto, who was talking about how he went on safari twice.
Oh,
and he was
yeah?
like, I didn't have the same workload as Nick Cage did, so I could just go off and do whatever I wanted.
Yeah, I guess he's not in that much of the movie, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in South Africa, so he has to be there for the shit that he's there.
Oh, because he's in because he's only in one scene in Africa.
He's in like 3 scenes, but like
Okay, right, because the Lebanon was Africa.
everything was
Yeah,
Africa.
everything was
Everything that
Africa,
wasn't America or Ukraine
was.
But I don't think he was
Africa.
ever in Ukraine in the movie.
Was he? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But that's when they blew up the truck.
Yeah.
It's just all fucking painful. So the production designer apparently was what's his name? Hold on, let's get his name here. Production design. Jean-Vincent Puzo. He's a production designer. He was trained as an architect. And he was saying that in most movies there's at least a few sets that aren't as important as the other sets, so you can kind of like take it a little bit more easy on those ones, and then on the important sets you really focus and put all your effort into that one.
So which were the ones in this that didn't matter?
He said there were none in this movie that were like that. He was
okay,
he was 100% had to give her on every fucking set. It was very, 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 because they were all very, because each scene in this movie is kind of very specific, and it's like it does jump to locale.
They're also all over the place.
Yeah,
so it's like
exactly. And apparently he was saying when he was designing it, he had like bullets and bullet chambers in his mind. So he's got kind of these like curved things. Like, I don't know. I didn't really recognize it from the movie, but they showed some concept art.
Well, I'm just thinking of like when he goes to meet the Liberian guy in like that big opulent palace and shit.
Oh yeah.
Was that like a set?
No, I think that was an actual...
Or was that an actual building?
That was an actual building, I believe. Yeah. In South Africa.
Yeah, presumably.
But I don't actually know what building that was.
Right.
But I guess, I hated on Jared Leto a lot because of his safaris, but, Nick Cage went on a safari as well, apparently.
Oh, yeah?
According to him, he says he went on a great white shark safari, and he swam right up to them. And he was like face to face with them, and it seemed like it was a very...
I hope that was properly safe.
I'm sure it was. He was like in a shark cage or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like such a hilarious Nick Cage activity.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I'm gonna go face to face with the shark.
With a great white shark.
Like, it's the only animal that understands me.
Yeah. He is the shark.
He is the shark.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically that's it. It's fucking harrowing as shit. Like long hours in South Africa, and because most of the film isn't shot in South Africa.
Yeah, indeed.
But we've got another segment for you. In fact, we've got a few more segments for you. But this next one's pretty real. It gets down to the bottom. It is time to talk about the truth.
The logical negation of falsehood.
Precisely.
So from what I understand, we're getting to the bottom of all the conspiracies about, the military-industrial complex and all that, right?
Obviously, of course.
Yeah.
9/11.
Inside job.
I didn't say anything. You said it, not me. Steel beams can't melt. They need a higher temperature.
I thought you were going to say steel beams can't melt jet fuel. This debate is too stupid to talk about, so I will defer on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so we're getting to the bottom of something.
Yeah, well, there's two things I wanted to talk about. I kind of wanted to talk about, like, fucking, because this movie gets pretty fucking graphic.
Oh,
about
we want
some
to tie
stuff.
up the loose ends.
What?
About,
Since-
how, normally, sometimes when you have, like, a biographic movie, it says, like, and then this happened after the movie,
Oh, yeah,
right?
well, we're gonna do that for sure. There's kind of two parts to this.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
We've got to, yeah.
Because a lot of things happened in real life after this movie.
A number of things,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. But first we're going to talk about kind of the Revolutionary United Front, which is portrayed in this movie.
Without actually being named.
Actually, they might be named, not like vocally, but I think you might see it written somewhere.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember if you do. But basically, this is the Sierra Leone scene. They're the rebel army who commits the atrocities that get Jared Leto killed, basically.
Right. Okay, so I didn't actually really look into all the actual stuff that happened, but so there was some kind of connection between Liberia and Sierra Leone and stuff that happened in Sierra Leone.
Exactly. So Charles Taylor, who is the guy that Baptiste, is that his name in the movie?
Baptiste.
Or
Andre Baptiste
Yeah.
in the
That
film.
He basically, for the first year of the RUF's fight, he financed them. He basically like gave them money and arms and sent mercenaries, and he basically he gave them the tools they needed, and they followed his kind of
Right. Okay.
playbook. And yeah, they're pretty horrifying,
Yeah. So they committed like war crimes in Sierra Leone.
Exactly, and they did basically everything that I'm not going to go into too much detail because
Oh right, I think yesterday, not yesterday, last time afterwards, we were checking out what all the crimes this guy was convicted of was.
Yeah, it was pretty horrifying. His
Yeah.
list of crimes. It just like it went on and on and on and on, and they were just each one worse than the last. And but yeah, the RUF was guilty of like basically everything that you saw in the movie and then some.
Exactly.
So just watch the movie, Sierra Leone shit. But that's real. It's terrifying. But I just wanted to bring that up because I think because I think there's we were talking about last week how this movie crosses the line into racist occasionally. Like, it kind of could be considered that occasionally.
I don't think that scene was that, though.
But that's what I'm trying to say is that I didn't want to, like, confuse the fact that there was a lot of accuracy to what was being
like,
shown.
I think the scene where they strip down the plane can get, like, a little bit
that was
shaky.
the one. That was the worst one, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned that last week. But yeah, they were pretty accurate with some of the atrocities shown and discussed.
Yeah.
And they were even, they took it easy on us.
Yeah, despite this movie actually being rated R, as we discussed.
Yeah, it could have been a lot more graphic.
Yeah.
But that's the first kind of dark thing. But now we're gonna kind of get into the still dark, but it's got more.
Are we talking about Charles Taylor? Or are we talking about?
No, we're talking about Victor Boot now.
Okay, so do we know if Victor Boot was selling guns to Sierra Leone?
Actually, I don't know if we know for sure.
Right.
Let's look into him. Hold on. because there's a few things that we want to talk about with Victor Boot.
Yes.
So the first thing that I think we wanted to mention is that he actually was arrested.
So he went to prison, yes, after this movie was made.
Yes.
Shortly afterwards as well.
Very shortly after. So let's find out exactly, because he was charged. He was arrested in Thailand in 2008.
Yeah.
And this movie came out in 2005. And then from Thailand, he was extradited
To the United States.
to the United States with cooperation with Interpol and the U.S. And then in 2011, he was convicted in Manhattan of conspiracy to kill U.S. citizens and officials, delivery of anti-aircraft missiles, and providing aid to a terrorist organization. And he was sentenced to 25 years imprisonment. So let's see what terrorist organization he was. So it looks like guilty of Colombian rebel arms deal. So that was the FARC thing we were talking about
Yeah.
last week, I imagine.
Yes.
So yes, he's sentenced to 25 years in prison. He's been in prison since 2012. However, he's been in the news recently.
Yes. Okay. So I believe, recently in the news, we are hearing a lot about, I guess, would you call her now a hostage in Russia?
I would call her that.
Yeah. Brittany Griner is right now in prison in Russia on quote unquote drug smuggling charges, but basically it's clearly politically motivated.
Yeah.
Like clearly Russia's trying to like get some fucking trying to trade something, right?
Yeah, they're trying to get some. Yeah.
Get something in return.
Yeah, really shitty situation that she's in. So where do you want to start with this? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot. So
Okay, so basically, it has been brought up that that one of the people who might be traded for Brittany Griner would be Victor Boot,
Yeah.
because for some reason I don't completely understand, but the Russians seem to really want him back.
Which is concerning.
Yeah.
That honestly concerns the fuck out of me.
All around good guy Sergei Lavrov seems to think that,
Oh, God.
yeah, all around really above board guy.
That was
yeah.
sarcasm.
Yeah, exactly. He maintains that Victor Boot is completely innocent.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, if he says it, it must be
exactly.
true. He's never said anything.
He's never lied about anything at all.
No.
Absolutely not.
So,
What was I gonna do? What else?
because she was just basically, Brittany Griner was
Just
found-
sentenced. Yeah.
Yeah, just sentenced to 9 years in prison. And that was as of recording.
yeah.
That was like yesterday.
Yes. But I mean, presumably the Russians fully don't expect her to actually serve that because
No, I think they're just trying to create
yeah,
more leverage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
So basically, there was another American also jailed in Russia, and that the Americans also want back. So I believe originally they were like, okay, we'll give you Victor Boot if you give us both of them. But then the Russians were like, well, we like Victor, but he's not worth that much, right?
yeah, there's a former Marine.
Yeah, Paul Whelan, I think.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been sentenced to 16 years in prison
Yeah.
on spying charges that his family and he said are false.
Yeah. But basically, it seems that the Russians have confirmed, I think, that they want Victor back.
Yes, they have finally actually confirmed that, at least according to Bill Richardson, who is a former governor of New Mexico, but he's also been very involved in prisoner exchanges
Okay.
in the United States for many, many years.
Right.
He's a former U.S. ambassador to the UN as well.
Okay.
But yeah, according to him, he believes, as of again recording today, he believes that quote the U.S. and Russia are moving in the right direction because they've done
Right.
it before, despite the fact that the relationship between the United States and Russia is toxic.
Yeah.
So I think both sides are moving in the right direction, and I'm optimistic.
Okay. So it
eventually-
seems like, unfortunately, Victor Boot might end up going free.
Seems like he might.
But, such is the situation with prisoner exchanges.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
According to the same guy, he said, I think it's not going to be a 2-for-1 deal. I think it's going to be a 2-for-2.
Yeah, okay, so they'll find some other horrible fucking dude in American prison and send him to Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So I've also got an article here from Michael Brown, or I assume it's Brown, who was involved in the U.S. effort to capture Victor Boot.
Yeah.
And he basically kind of wrote a article about why they shouldn't send him back. Basically, why they shouldn't set him free.
I
which
mean,
I get.
I fully understand the feeling there.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you you did this, he's basically in the movie. He's Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, exactly. He basically is. Yeah.
So I can fully understand because Ethan Hawke's frustration at the end, after they set him free, right? That's basically happening in real life right now.
Right now, exactly.
So it's I don't blame the guy who spent all this time fucking trying to catch Victor Boot, being pissed that he's getting set free.
He said
because for what I understand, he does certainly not deserve to be set free.
Well, I can't say. He said believed to be. This is the This is what's his name?
Brown?
Michael Brown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke, sorry.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke. I served in government for 35 years, the last 4 of them as an assistant administrator and chief operations for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. In that capacity, I had ultimate oversight over the operation that led to Boot's arrest and incarceration.
Mm-hmm.
He began dealing Soviet-made weapons in the 1990s. By 2003, he'd become the world's preeminent arms trafficker, flooding weapons to U.S.-designated terrorist organizations, insurgent groups, narcotics cartels, and rogue regimes all over the world. It could transport tanks, helicopters, and weapons by the tons to virtually any point in the world.
Right.
So he was fucking big deal. He did particular damage in Africa, where insurgent and terrorist groups slaughtered hundreds of thousands of innocents with his weapons, inspiring the Nicolas Cage film Lord of War.
Yep.
Weapons that Boot sold to the Taliban were used against U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan. Let's see. Trading Boot would also encourage Moscow and other rogue regimes to take Americans hostage, is what he's arguing, which I don't know if that's a totally fair argument, because it's I feel like that motivation kind of exists
going on for a while.
already.
Yeah.
He was apprehended while meeting DA operatives posing as members of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, so I mean, all in all, not a good situation. We really hope that Brittany Griner gets to come home soon, and Paul Whelan as well gets to come home soon. But it's obviously this guy is real bad, real bad.
He goes on to write,
Yeah.
as experts on Russia often quip, there's really no such thing as a, quote, former Russian intelligence officer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so actually, that kind of ties into the movie a little bit, because there's that whole bit where, the Americans are they basically they're basically okay with Nicolas Cage doing what he does because he supplies weapons to the people that they can't be seen supplying them to. I mean, read between the lines here, but, maybe that's what the Russians were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That likely explains why Moscow has fought so hard to get him back.
Exactly, yeah.
Following Boot's arrest, the Russian government denounced the charges and summoned the Thai ambassador in Moscow.
Yeah.
It then covertly deployed money and influence in an attempt to scuttle his extradition to the United States. So they were really, since the second he was arrested, they were on him.
So, yeah, pretty sketch all around. Yeah.
hey, look at this. We've mentioned this before.
What?
Moscow could just as easily put him back to work planning and executing clandestine supply missions in support of Russian proxies like the Wagner Group in Africa, Venezuela, and other hotspots.
Did we mention the Wagner Group on air?
I think we have.
Oh.
Did we?
I don't think so. I think we were talking about them offline.
Okay, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Either way.
But also real sketchy people.
Sketchy as fuck, and yeah. Point being is Michael Brown is not convinced he should go free, but
Neither am I.
No,
but
no one is.
No one is.
No one is, but we want innocent fucking people
Yeah,
to
so
not be
it's
rotting in Russian jail.
Yeah, so it's all around a bad situation.
Yeah,
so
it's
I don't know.
I don't know, but that's
And
that
if you-
is
yeah.
that's the fucking truth, though.
That's the truth, indeed. Okay, well, okay, let's end this with some let's talk about
Charles Taylor.
Charles Taylor, because he is in prison.
He is in prison.
Yes,
That's true.
actually, let's talk about that.
That is satisfying. Yeah. Why don't
Okay.
we pull up some of that?
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of details about him that are
Yeah.
pretty horrifying.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, we already talked about his connection to the Sierra Leone situation, which is already real bad.
yeah, but I wanted, let's just because he was disappearance and arrest. He was arrested in Liberia. That's and then trial. 17 counts for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed during the conflict in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
So that's what he got charged with. Under the let's see, where's the list? Where's the
Yeah, there was
list?
at least 11 counts of basically crimes against humanity. But essentially, he was arrested, tried, and
Yes.
now he is sitting in some maximum security prison in the UK.
Yeah, he was so he was found guilty of acts of terrorism, murder, violence to life, health, and physical or mental well-being of persons, in particular murder, rape, sexual slavery, and other form of sexual violence, outrages upon personal dignity, violence to life, health, and physical or mental well-being of persons, in particular cruel treatment, other inhumane acts, conscripting or enlisting children under the age of 15 years into armed forces or groups, or using them to participate actively in hostilities, enslavement, pillaging.
Yeah.
And so it's 11 counts, all of which he was found guilty of. So that's, at his trial, he claimed he was a victim.
Yeah, okay.
Like, God, Lord. So in 2013, Taylor was transferred into British custody.
Yeah.
How long is he gonna be in jail?
I
for?
believe
Hopefully.
forever.
Confirmed his guilt and the penalty of 50 years in prison.
So probably the rest of his life.
Hopefully the rest of his fucking godforsaken life.
Yeah.
So that's at least a little bit happy that he's no longer roaming free.
Yeah. Okay, so this movie contributed to the arrest of Victor Boot, who might unfortunately later go free,
Yes.
but we'll see how that happens. And the arrest of Charles Taylor.
Yes. So pretty good work.
Yeah, good work, Nick.
Yeah, good work, Nick. And Nick, as we mentioned last week, he became involved in I forget specifically what the organization was, but it was specifically about small arms trading.
Yeah.
And, active trying to stop it, but I don't remember what it was called. But yeah. That's the truth. Pretty intense this week. Pretty intense. Pretty true.
Yeah, very true.
But we've got one last segment, and that's just our final thoughts on this film.
Yeah, okay.
Get us started.
All right, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's better. It's way better than you expect.
100%.
It's got some creative, sequences in it, like the whole opening sequence with the bullet. I
Totally.
really like that. Only it's held a little bit back by the CGI
Yeah.
technology they had.
You can move past it. It's easy to
Yeah,
get past it, but it's true.
But
It's a
it's
little
true.
bit- it's
yeah,
noticeable.
Yeah, and it was cleverly written, I think. So I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I would say that this is It's a quite good movie,
Yeah.
but not quite a great movie.
No, it's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. It's worth watching.
A pretty
It's
good movie. It's got
a movie that's
lot.
Yeah,
It's got a lot going for it.
it's got a lot going for it, and it's got Nick Cage in it, and
nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that.
That's pretty much a victory.
Exactly.
Um,
And hopefully it did some good in the world.
hopefully, yeah, and we'll see what goes on with Victor Boot. I'm sure we'll keep you updated on that story, but
We'll see.
at least he served some time in prison, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good movie. Good movie,
Yeah.
Nick Cage. Good movie, Andrew Niccol. Give it a watch.
Yeah. And next time you eat Pizza Hut, think of Mikhail Gorbachev.
Definitely. Why? There's no way not to now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah. So that's it. That's our episode for this week.
All right. Oh yeah. Shout out to the Germans for tuning in.
Das ist good.
All right.
Das ist
Have a good.
sehr good. We are just. I wanted to.
Oh
mention
yeah.
just
We're okay.
Just before we go,
This is episode 97, right?
I believe so.
Okay, we're getting close to 100.
Yeah. So get ready.
Get ready. It's gonna be a big episode.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh, are we doing an episode next week?
Oh, good point. No, we probably aren't.
Yeah. Okay. So we are on vacation next week,
Yeah, we are. We are taking
but we will be back after that.
Yes, we'll be back with episode 97, the final series before our 100 episode series.
Yeah. Wow.
It's pretty
so
exciting.
90 be 98 and 99. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
Works out perfectly.
it's very good.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thanks for listening. Have a good time.
Have an excellent
There's
time.
something happening here. But what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody